Alrighty, good evening everybody. My name is Liam Kenny and thank you so much for joining me for another live tropical update. The tropics are fired up as ever. We are now in probably the most active time of the season, considering we have already passed the peak of the season, which is September 10th. So this time of year is when we typically see our most action, and over the past several weeks, it has been system after system after system, and that is still the case and will most likely continue to be the case over the next several weeks, potentially even over the next several months, all right? Thankfully, I'll go ahead and say this, no systems at all are any threat to the United States. We have one hurricane and three different areas, two which are invested, and I think one of them is a subtropical storm. So thankfully, though, none of them are any threat to the United States at all. And before we go ahead and get started, I want to let you all know that I'm monitoring everything that is going on in the live chat. So if any of you have any questions, comments, or concerns you would like answered, definitely feel free to leave those down in the live chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Good morning, Peyton Morris. Good to see you. All right. So before we go ahead and get started, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. Now, before the start of hurricane season, the chief meteorologist of ABC 15 News, a local news station down here, Mr. Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski, he had said that if we go this whole entire hurricane season without getting any landfalling hurricanes in the state of South Carolina, we would have a pizza party. And honestly, I didn't think that it was going to happen, considering, it would be a lot of work and everything else like that. But right now, it is planned to happen December 11th at the Myrtle Beach Pelicans Baseball Stadium on 21st Avenue North in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is December 11th, and believe it or not, we actually have a very special guest coming. A lot of you probably know him. I know for a fact that I absolutely love him, and I'm pretty sure that every single meteorologist loves him out there. Mr. Jim Cantori, probably the head meteorologist of the Weather Channel, will actually be joining us for that pizza party. Once again, he is probably the most known meteorologist out there. He's from the Weather Channel, and whenever you think of big storms like hurricanes and tropical systems, he's always the one that goes there, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Jim Cantori's coming here! Like, we got to get the heck out of here." But yes, he'll be coming. That's the plan for him to come to this pizza party. Once again, that is December 11th, 2021 at the Myrtle Beach Pelicans Baseball Stadium on 21st Avenue North in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, all right? Now, let's talk about the tropics, the main reason for this live update, all right? Currently in the Atlantic, we currently have one system to watch out for, and that is Hurricane Sam. It is still a very strong storm. It is now a Category 3 storm. Honestly, though, it has looked a lot better on satellite imagery than it has. It's gone through several different eyewall replacement cycles, and I'll tell you what those are coming up in just a couple of minutes. You might be going, what the heck is an eyewall replacement cycle? I'll explain all that to you coming up in just a couple of minutes, all right? Now, just off the coast of Africa, we also have two different systems. We have Invest 91L and Invest 90L. Both of these have a very high chance of forming. 91L has an 80% chance of forming, and 90L has a 90% chance of forming. Shout out to Ed Piotrowski for organizing the pizza party. Yes, a huge shout out to Mr. Ed Piotrowski because that is definitely, big event that is definitely going to be trying to happen. Wow, that's really cool that Jim Cantori will be there. Yes, it certainly is, Mr. HQ. All right, so let's take a look at Hurricane Sam, all right? Here's the enhanced satellite, and once again, this is showing you where the biggest thunderstorms are currently firing up in the atmosphere. Wherever you see like that black and the white firing up, especially in this outer eyewall right here, that's where we have the worst impact. We're talking about the strongest winds, the biggest, waves, and also the strongest thunderstorms. So anywhere right around that eye is where we have the strongest storms. And you can kind of see over the last several hours how the eye it has been struggling to really stay in that circular form or stay intact. And the reason for that is because it's been going through several eyewall replacement cycles. Now, what the heck is an eyewall replacement cycle? So what happens with this cycle is the original eye of the hurricane actually shrinks and then eventually disappears, and the outer eyewall actually becomes the new eye. It'll be much wider as soon as the eyewall becomes the main eye. And thankfully, as we're going through this process, it's actually a sign of weakening. So once again, let me go back to the satellite. You can see how the original eye has definitely been shrinking and everything, and that outer cloud wall has begun to really take really take stance over the original eye wall. And once again, the new eye wall will be much wider, and it's also a sign of weakening. Okay, so whenever we see hurricanes, especially like Sam has, this is definitely something that we want to see, considering it will be decreasing the strength in the system. So once again, the original eye wall shrinks and then eventually disappears. The brand new eye wall becomes the new eye, and it'll become much wider than the original eye. And once again, this is a sign of weakening throughout the system. All right. Now, what are the latest details on the system? How strong is it? Where is it? How fast is it moving? All right. Currently a Category 3 major hurricane stats. Maximum sustained winds of 130 miles an hour, a low minimum pressure of 947 millibars. And let me remind you all, as soon as we see that pressure decrease, that means we're seeing an increase in strength. The pressure has been lower within this system, however, it's still pretty low. I've only seen, a couple of hurricanes that get, below 940 or 950, so this is probably definitely going to be, something that we will never be used again. I can assure you that the name of Sam will never be used again, considering it was almost a Category 5. So, with that being said, I don't think there's any chance that Sam will be used again, all right? Now, as I said earlier when I first started, this system is going to be absolutely no impact to the United States. However, it could be a major red flag for Bermuda, considering it will be just off the coast of Bermuda as we head into Friday. Thankfully, though, it might be just a little bit weaker. We're still looking at a major Category 3, and then it'll finally somewhat decrease as soon as we get into portions of the North Atlantic, but we're still dealing with a major Category 3 hurricane. Let me remind you that almost 48 hours ago, this system was on the verge of becoming a Category 5 hurricane. It had winds of 150 miles an hour. Category 5 is 156. So there's really, but honestly, there's really no difference between a high-end Cat 4 and a low-grade Cat 5, all right? Now, what are the three things that we look for when determining if a hurricane is strengthening or de-strengthening, all right? First off, you have to have very warm sea surface temperatures, which anywhere in this general area where Hurricane Sam will be going, the water temperatures are very warm, so absolutely perfect conditions for sea surface temperatures. Number two, you have to have plenty of moisture in the atmosphere to fire up those big thunderstorms that are firing up in that eye wall. And last but not least, you can't really have any wind shear, because wind shear is going to be pushing that moisture out of the way that could eventually strengthen it. So basically, moisture is like candy for a hurricane, and Sam or any hurricane can't strengthen without candy, and God forbid the wind shear pushes the candy out of the way, you can't strengthen. So you can never, a hurricane can never strengthen whenever there's wind shear, right? Now, taking a look at where the most wind shear is right now, there is a little bit right in this general area where the eye wall will be going over, so it is possible we might see a decrease in strength just a little bit. But as soon as we get done with this batch right here, then we're going to be in an area where there's not a lot. So it could re-strengthen again. This system has been strengthening and de-strengthening at the same time. So it's really, honestly, it's really unpredictable whether or not this system is going to increase, stay the same, or decrease in strength, all right? Now, where are the strongest winds right now? Anywhere where you see that purple area right in that outer eye wall is where we have the hurricane force winds potentially gusting upwards of 100 to 110 miles an hour, and then anywhere in this orange, maybe ranging about 50 miles or so from the center of where that eye is, where we have the tropical storm force winds, and that's where we could potentially be seeing winds gusting upwards of 50, 60, maybe even into 70 miles an hour, right? Once again, no threat to the United States at all. Because of the Bermuda high that's currently out in this general area, it's going to be continuing to push it westward, but then as soon as it gets on that western side, then it's going to be taking that northeastern turn, and then eventually really impacting nobody. Really, the only people that need to worry about Hurricane Sam is going to be everybody in Bermuda, maybe a couple of people down there in the Lesser Antilles, maybe in the Caribbean, considering we could see a couple of outer bands go, but really, the only part that you need to be worried about is going to be that eye wall, and then maybe just a little bit outside of that. So really, the only people that need to be worried about Hurricane Sam is going to be people in Barbados and maybe some portions of the Lesser Antilles, but if you live in the United States, there is going to be nothing to worry about with Hurricane Sam, all right? Now, will Sam get any stronger? It's not very likely. It'll either probably stay at Category 3, maybe get up to Category 4 again, and then it'll probably decrease in strength. Some of them all do have it making it to Category 4 again, but the majority of them have it either staying at Category 3 or decreasing. There's no chance of this becoming a Category 5 hurricane at all unless it can hit a really good batch of atmospheric moisture or a really small area of very warm sea surface temperatures that are over 90 degrees. But Other than that, depending on whether or not it gets to Category 3 or 4, there's really not going to be any difference considering this system is absolutely no threat to the United States at all right? Now, moving past Sam, let's talk about Invest 91L and Invest 90L. You can see there's just a lot of convection, a lot of thunderstorms just off the coast of Africa. The western coast of Africa is right around here. So really, anywhere in this general area where we're trying to look for potential development, you really can't pick out any storm at all. It's honestly hard for me to pick it out. I would say that this general area right here is one storm, and then maybe this area is another one. But considering it's just really a big, cluster of thunderstorms, you really can't pick out anything that might be happening, all right? Once again, Invest 91 has an 80% chance of forming. Invest 90L has a 90% chance of forming. So it's very, very likely that both of these systems will be probably forming, at some point in time. However, I think all the spaghetti malls right now are actually making them turn up to the northeast and then eventually just diminishing out. So I really don't think that these systems will actually have any impact on anybody. Maybe portions of South America as those outer bands are rotating around the center of low pressure. But other than that, these systems are really not going to be affecting anybody. They're just going to be really staying out in the open waters of the South Atlantic, maybe getting into the Central Atlantic. But other than that, as soon as these form, even if they do get named, there's really not going to be any impacts. Because of that Bermuda High, it's turning everything out to sea. The Bermuda High is what is turning everything out to sea. That's what turned Larry out to sea. That's what's turning Sam out to sea right now, and then eventually it'll be turning these two systems out to sea. So we can all thank the Bermuda High for keeping the eastern coast safe from any tropical systems. We only had maybe one or two minor tropical storms making landfall earlier this year, but other than that, the state of South Carolina and really the whole entire southeastern United States, especially along the eastern coast, have been somewhat in the clear. I know Louisiana got hit pretty hard by Hurricane Ida. Texas got hit by Nicholas a couple of weeks ago. So the Gulf Coast have been hit pretty hard. But as far as the eastern coast, the only system that has made landfall on the eastern portions of the United States was Tropical Storm Henri back a couple of months ago. All right. Now I think that's all I have to talk about the tropics. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on right now in the United States. We currently have this massive ridge of high pressure that's making a really big trough in the jet stream pattern. And what that will lead to is moisture coming out of the southern Pacific, and that will kick up some scattered showers, thunderstorms across portions of eastern Texas, Louisiana, and then eventually potentially the whole entire rest of the Gulf Coast. And that won't only affect them, but it'll also affect the southeastern portions of the United States. As we head into the next couple of days, now we see the area of high pressure over the Mississippi River Valley, and then getting into portions of Tennessee and Kentucky. We're still seeing a really big trough right here, increase in that jet stream pattern, and that will once again bring up all moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and increase our temperatures, maybe increase our humidity just a little bit, but really it's not going to be too bad considering as soon as this trough gets enough eastward, it's not going to be as strong as it was when it was back over portions of Texas and the central and southern plains, all right? So now taking a look at our 10-day forecast, really nice over the next several days. Our only day of rain potentially is going to be next Tuesday. Other than that, it's going to be really nice. We will see a little bit of warmth coming Wednesday and Thursday because of that area of high pressure coming into our area. But then it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous weekend. 0% chance of rain all the way from Wednesday all the way into Monday. Highs in the afternoon topping out from the mid to high 80s and then dropping down into the mid 60s overnight. I forgot to change the low on Sunday. That should be 62, not 82. Excuse me for that. And then as soon as we head into next week, we will have a brand new cold front coming through, and that will bring us a very small chance of rain every single day. A mix of isolated showers and thunderstorms. But other than that, our forecast is looking absolutely great. You can thank all these areas of high pressure that have been really dominating our region. They have been really drying out our atmosphere and also bringing us absolutely no rain at all right? So I think that is really all I have for my PowerPoint. Let me see. I think that's about it that I have. I see we currently have 10 viewers right now. I just saw your comment. When will the South see more rain? I don't want to have to turn my sprinklers on. LOL. So if you look back at our 10-day forecast, really, I think you're probably going to want to turn your sprinklers on this whole entire week, considering it's going to be very dry. Maybe you can turn them off come portions of early next week, but Other than that, all these areas of high pressure really are drying up our air and really have not been allowing any scattered showers or even thunderstorms to form. So really, throughout the rest of this week, and then this weekend, probably want to turn them on, and then maybe you might be able to turn them on come next week when we finally get a chance for some scattered showers or even thunderstorms. But other than that, throughout the rest of this week and then eventually into this weekend, you probably definitely want to keep them on, especially if you don't want any plants or anything like that to potentially die. Alrighty? So I think that is pretty much all I have for all of you tonight. It's currently 8:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'll give you all just a couple of more minutes to ask me anything you might have before I end up the live stream, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up tonight's update. I'll be doing a lot more updates over the next several days. I don't think they're going to be live updates, but there'll definitely be updates talking about the latest with Sam, the latest on Invest 90 and 91L, and then eventually our forecast as that area of high pressure continues to move off to the east and potentially gives us a slight chance of rain come portions of next week. Also, I appreciate you all for taking time out of your evening to join me and watch me. Also, I want to thank each and every one of you that has currently subscribed to my channel. My channel is almost at 350 subscribers, so I want to give you all a huge thanks to getting me where I'm at in my career. Also, a couple of my videos over the past couple of weeks have been getting over 2,000 views, especially my tropical updates. When I see these numbers, I'm like, wow. 2,000 views, that is absolutely incredible. So I cannot thank each and every one of you enough for all the support you've given me, especially to each and every one of my family members, my mother, my father, my stepmom, my grandfather. He's helped me so much on my technical side. He's bought me my microphone, my computers, both of my side screens for my green screen. He's bought me so much stuff, so I really cannot thank you enough. A huge shout out to you, Grandpa. You mean a lot to me, and everybody else in my family that has really supported me throughout my journey. I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you for the comments. Oh yeah, let me actually talk about that real fast. Once again, if you're just joining us, Ed Petrowski, the chief meteorologist of ABC 15 News in Conway, South Carolina, is planning to host a pizza party on December 11th, 2021 at the Myrtle Beach Pelican Stadium, which is on 21st Avenue North in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. In case you all are just joining in, we actually have a special guest coming. I don't know if any of you have heard of the person named Jim Cantori. He is probably the head storm chaser at the Weather Channel. He will be joining us for this pizza party. When I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, let's go. Yeah, congrats on getting 2,000 views recently. Thanks, HQ. Alright, does anybody want me to go back to any particular slide answer any questions? Is anybody confused about the eyewall replacement cycle? I know that may be confusing for some of y'all. Honestly, when I first heard it, it was very confusing to me, and then as soon as I learned it, it got a lot more clear to me. So if anybody wants me to go over this and go in depth, what's going on with the satellite imagery right now, I can show you what's going on with that. Hooray for no hurricanes so we can have pizza. Yes, that is definitely a good thing. I don't want any hurricanes around our area. Bring Jim Cantori, keep the hurricanes away. Let's make that Bermuda high even stronger and push the storms even further away from us. Even though they're pretty far away, let's get them way far from us. I just may join you. I love pizza. Alright, put me down for a slice of cheese, alright? Also, thank you for the 2 likes. Really helps out the channel a lot. And if you are just joining us now and you aren't subscribed to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a lot of great stuff coming. I will be with you every single step of the way. Throughout every single tropical storm, I will be live on YouTube whenever we have a hurricane making landfall, whether it's in South Carolina, the Eastern Coast, the Gulf Coast, or anywhere else in the United States. I will be with you every single step of the way. Also, for all the details you need to know on Hurricane Sam, be sure to go to my website at www.liamsweather.org, and as soon as you see the page titled Tropical Update, there's going to be a little down arrow, and as soon as you click that, you'll see a page titled Hurricane Sam. Click that page where it says Hurricane Sam, and then I have listed all the latest details, including the latest advisory, the spaghetti models, the wind shear, the intensity models, and then also you can see the latest satellite imagery, and then I'll also explain again what the eyewall replacement cycle is. So once again, that is www.liamsweather.org. Go to where it says Tropical Update, click the little down arrow, Click the page titled Hurricane Sam, and then you can see all the latest details on this massive beast. Once again, it was almost a Category 5 come just about 2 days ago. Alrighty, I'm going to give you all till 8:23. It's now 8:20 to ask me anything you might have right before I end the stream. I will be more than happy to answer anything you might have. It's my job as a meteorologist to make sure that everybody knows exactly what's going on with Hurricane Sam, any other tropical systems, and anything else that involves weather. So please feel free to ask me anything you might have, and I'll be more than happy to explain anything to you or help you out with anything that I possibly can, okay? Alright, another 2 minutes to ask me anything you might have. And then we will go ahead and end up the live. Not seeing any questions yet. I guess that's a good thing. I may have answered it without you having to ask it, but I still want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. Yeah, I know, computer, be quiet. Alrighty. 1 more minute. Anybody that likes to ask last-minute questions, definitely be sure to ask them right now. We got 1 minute left. The final countdown. No. Okay. Do you think the ocean will be rough near South Carolina when Sam gets close? Let me see about that. As far as South Carolina goes, it's hard to say, honestly. Depending on how strong it is and how strong the onshore push is going to be this way, we could see a couple of waves that are maybe a little bit higher than average along the beaches of South Carolina. Maybe a slight to marginal higher risk of a rip current risk along the beaches of the Carolinas. But other than that, considering how far it's going to be offshore, I mean, it's going to be even east of Bermuda, and Bermuda's in the middle of the North Atlantic. I don't think you'll see anything, despite maybe a couple of waves higher than average and maybe a slight to marginal rip current risk. But other than that, there's not going to be any impacts along the beaches of South Carolina. What do you expect from the rest of the Atlantic hurricane season? Jeez Louise, HQ, testing my knowledge. It's honestly hard to say. I thought we were going to see a lot more landfalling hurricanes this year, especially along the eastern coast, but the Bermuda High has been steering everything out to sea. So to answer your question, honestly, if the Bermuda High really diminishes out, then we might see a lot more storms go more westward, but as long as that Bermuda High stays as strong as it is, it's going to keep turning everything out to sea, just like with Hurricane Sam. The Bermuda High is right here. That's what's pushing it westward, and will eventually push it northward, and then eventually turn it northeastward around that area of high pressure. But as long as we have the Bermuda High, it's going to be keeping us safe. But if we don't have it, then it might be a different ballgame. So honestly, I'm not expecting much more, especially about hurricanes or tropical systems as far as the United States go. Maybe just swells. Yeah, probably just swells. I don't think really anything higher than maybe 5 to 8 feet, maybe maximum. If anybody wants to go offshore boating, I wouldn't advise it, but I wouldn't really be against it. Just be very, very careful. Listen to your marine forecast if you have to. My advice would be to stay on the shore if you're going to go out of Myrtle's Inlet or North Myrtle Beach or something like that. Try and stay as close to the shore as you can, considering we're still looking at a very strong hurricane, about 500 or 700 miles just off of the east of us. So if you're going to be going boating, try and stay as onshore as much as you can. If you do go out, farther, I would advise you to wear a life jacket. But really, considering how far it's out, I don't think you'll be seeing as worse impacts as you would see if it was a lot more westward, closer to the Carolina coast. Alrighty, so I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's live update. Once again, thank you all so much for joining me. If you're brand new to the channel, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you aren't already, be sure to turn on the notification bell so that way whenever I do live updates, just like I'm doing right now, or I post a brand new video, you'll always get notified. Be sure to click the like button if you're enjoying the content. Last but not least, definitely be sure to share the video with all your family, friends, and anybody else that you know so that way they know exactly what is going to be going on over the next several weeks. Once again, I'll be with you every single step of the way throughout the rest of this hurricane season, and eventually into the winter season, as we might see some nor'easters, especially in the northeastern United States. Once again, I'll be with you every single step of the way to make sure that you, your family members, your friends, and anybody else always stays safe. Okay. Alrighty, so I really appreciate you all for joining tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.